everyone to a brand new edition of the Angle Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Joey Karni, and today's guest, well, we could say is the MVP of 2022. But before I introduce her, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe down below to stay up to date with all the Angles activity right here on YouTube. Now, today's guest is the first woman to kick the forbidden door wide open to WWE, bringing along her Impact Wrestling Knockouts World Championship, which, by the way, she'll be defending at Impact's next pay-per-view called Sacrifice. Now, she's quite busy traveling from Busted Open to OVW, bringing a little hardcore country everywhere she goes. And of course, she is the first woman to be a two-time guest. Of course she is, the first woman to be a two-time guest on the Angle Podcast. She is the reigning, defending, current Impact Wrestling Knockouts World Champion. She's hardcore country. She is Mickie James. How are you, Mickie, and welcome back to the show.
I'm so good. I had to put my hat on for you because it's so amazing.
Awesome.
Just to let everybody know in case they didn't already.
I love it. It's you to a T.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So, Mickie, you are what seems to be the busiest that you've ever been. Bringing hardcore country everywhere and the Knockouts title. You just talked to Carol Baskin on God TV. I mean,
oh my God.
You're doing everything. How do you,
How
how do you juggle your day to day with everything that's going on?
It is a balance. It's a struggle sometimes. I do feel like, especially here recently, last couple of months, as champion, I have been busier than ever. So, it comes with great responsibility, being the champ. However, I've been having so much fun, and of course you got to enjoy that ride while it lasts. And I hope and I intend for it to last for a very long time. So I'm excited. I'm excited to be doing so many different things and to be out there, and, plus I can get a new hat every time, and
of course,
jackets, wardrobe, the whole thing.
Of course, Mickie James bringing the bling and hardcore country.
Of course, have to.
The last time that we spoke, you were producing. It was in August. You were producing EMPOWER, and since then, you've really taken that momentum and honestly knocked it out of the park. Everything you're doing. Have you really taken a moment to just breathe and take in all the success that you've had?
Yes, I have. And I'm super grateful for it, but it's just, EMPOWER was so successful and had such positive energy around it. And it took so many women just kind of coming together to make that happen. And even just the different companies and the support behind that to come together to make that night happen. But everything that's happened since then, like if you would have talked to me then, back in April, almost a year ago to now, like it's so much has changed and it's crazy. It's incredible. And I'm super grateful for it. And it's wild. It's been a wild ride. That's for sure.
And since you've won that Knockouts World title, I mean, you've main evented pay-per-views. The first time for the Knockouts, you entered the WWE Royal Rumble with the title, which is a first. And you're the first woman to actually go through the forbidden door. I mean, when Impact did their thing with AEW, there was no woman involved. A lot of people asked for it. You're the first woman to actually go and you'll go to another promotion and compete.
Well, I don't know. I think Thunder Rosa did that with NWA.
Thunder Rosa, she did.
Thunder Rosa did it
correct.
With NWA, and she went over, and obviously she's here now.
Yeah, I guess the first to WWE.
With WWE, obviously. For the first woman to do it with WWE, and the first time I think in modern wrestling, in this era of wrestling that we're in like the last 20 years or whatever, that anyone has walked onto another promotion with the championship, a woman into WWE. It's pretty monumental. And it really took the week after to kind of sit back and take it all in and go like, okay, this really did happen, because I didn't want to celebrate before the thing, because anything could happen. This is wrestling, like cards subject to change. But it was beautiful. It was to be number 20, which was kind of ironic because obviously we're celebrating 20 years of Impact. So to be number 20, and I thought, I went out there and I wanted to represent Impact. I wanted to represent Mickie James. I wanted to represent hardcore country and all of these things. And it was awesome. It was so awesome. And it was just a cool moment for wrestling, I think, just for wrestling as a whole, not just women's wrestling, but just, and everyone, like, it was cool to see my friends backstage, and everyone was just so supportive and just amazing. And it was a good night. It was a real good night.
And the last time that we spoke, I asked you, if there was anything that you wanted to do that you didn't get to do in your time with WWE, and you said you didn't get to be hardcore country there, and that finally coming to fruition. I mean, that's huge, and I don't think that happens to many people. Like, to get to go back and rewrite your history, So
it's crazy. It's kind of crazy, and this weird. And that was pretty magical, because that was one of the things. It's like, I really would have loved to have presented, and now I have hardcore country to the WWE audience, because I really feel like they would have fallen in love with that character, and it just didn't make sense, stories or whatever, to do it there. And I, even though we talked about it or pitched it, but it's so weird. And I think it was also we didn't know, or they didn't know, or whoever, that the audience, WWE audience, would recognize that character, would kind of lean to that, and that showed that they actually really loved it, and it was so cool. But it was also so cool to see my friends back, and to see like this blend of like generations of women who have built the foundation onto who are killing it now, like kind of blend together in this night. Because the Rumble was always one of my favorite pay-per-views. Always. It's such a great pay-per-view, even as a fan, to watch, because there is that element of surprise. But that also, that moment kind of created this idea, because everyone was like, this will never happen in WWE. She'll never be able to use her music. She'll never be hardcore country there. She'll never come out with the championship. They'll never acknowledge it. And it was all the things that they did do. And it was like, oh crap, this is a reality that can actually happen. So these other dream matches that I kind of had booked in my head that thought would never happen, you never know. Maybe it could.
What was really cool about it too, I mean, it shows how many people are watching Impact and know what's going on, to go over and Mickie James is in the Royal Rumble, but Impact is being featured with their title. I mean, it was a huge win for Impact as well, and
for sure,
really cool, to see everybody getting their flowers.
It was a win for Impact. It was a win for myself. I think it was a win for WWE. It was a win for wrestling, honestly, and the possibilities in the future. So,
So you're the Knockouts World Title champion. At this point in your career, you're still at the forefront, knocking down barriers for women's wrestling. What does that mean to you? Just to still do what you do best.
It's amazing. It's different, obviously, now than it was 10 years ago, or even 10 years prior to that. But the whole kind of journey, and then even me now being in this position where there are so many women who I can see have so much potential and are going to do so much, and to be able to help in any way, like kind of guide that journey for them, and maybe make it a little easier, because we've all made mistakes, and you're all going to make your own mistakes, and I certainly have made mine, but like it's such a great industry, in the sense of like, I love it so much, and it's given me some of the best memories and best friends, and to be still a part of it in any capacity. I think I'll always be a part of wrestling in some capacity, just because I love it so much. But it's really cool. It's really cool, and to get to see this new crop of talent and new crop of women who are really going to just like keep kicking doors down everywhere. So it's cool. It's cool.
And speaking of women breaking barriers and Impact, the Knockouts and Impact, Tasha Steelz, she is the first winner of the first Ultimate X match with Impact. She goes on to become the #1 contender. At No Surrender, you defeated Tasha Steelz, someone who's familiar with the spotlight, familiar with gold, being a former Knockouts tag team champion. This is the first time that we really see her stepping into like a singles role and really shining. What are your thoughts on Tasha Steelz?
You know what? I think that I have always been very vocal, very positive about what I think Tasha is an amazing talent. She's got she's got charisma, she's got personality, she can get it done in the ring. Obviously, she proved that with the Ultimate X match by herself. I mean, she tends to lean on Savannah Evans a lot, and for my taste. However, I think that you're right. Like when we thought of Tasha before, we thought of Fire and Flame. We thought of her as a tag team champion. And now, for the first time since this break, and now to see her step up into this role as a and really shine as a female competitor, like just in her own right, it's been pretty awesome. And when I did commentary for Knockouts Knockdown, you can go back and watch that if you like. I was like, whoa, this chick is a star. Like she's got it. She's got it for sure. And she's really shining. She's grasped onto that role. And I think that's kind of like when you are at that crossroads, you have a decision to make, like, what are you going to do? And I think that she jumped up and she's like, okay, this is my chance to prove myself. And she's obviously making her mark to try to do that. And she's not going to make it at my expense, though, obviously. Obviously. Yes. She's got a little bit of attitude, you know, a little bit disrespectful. I mean, I can appreciate the attitude a little bit because you need attitude, obviously. And she's very confident.
Yeah.
I can respect that. Yeah.
Of course, for that. She went on Twitter and she said she was cheated out of her, her title match, tweeting to Impact Management.
Right.
Also, you pinned her shoulders to the mat for the 3 count. Does she have a case, being that Chelsea Green was somewhat involved in that match?
I suppose if you want to get technical, because there was that physical contact, but the way I remember it was Savannah was also very heavily involved.
Absolutely.
Would she have even gotten the advantage in the first place if it wasn't for her best friend out there, kind of taking care of her dirty work and obviously doing more than just evening the odds, because she pulled me out of the ring, whether the ref saw it or not, but she pulled me out of the ring and she ran me into the post. And that is how Tasha got the upper hand in the first place. So in my opinion, in my humble opinion, no, I don't think that she has a case, because Chelsea was coming out there to, kind of be the equalizer.
Even the odds there, yeah.
Right. And Chelsea also got hurt in that because I just accidentally busted my friend off the apron. I didn't want to do that. So who really has I don't know. Who was more affected by that?
Of course. Yeah.
But of course, because she's always got something to say. So I know she has a lot to say, and I know, but I have already requested an appointment with Miss Gail Kim. So I have an appointment, and we obviously discussed this, and I made my appointment, and then she comes charging in there like she runs the place in the middle of my appointment with Chelsea. And obviously now it's going to be a number 1 contenders match between my friend Chelsea Green and Tasha Steelz. So
regardless, you walked out and knockouts the Impact World Champion. So
yeah,
you. But someone
it was a great match. It was fun to be in New Orleans again. And I think that it was fun also because the night before we had a concert. I got to sing a concert with my girls, Chapel Heart.
Yeah.
So we had a kickoff party. So that was fun. And and then went on No Surrender and was victorious against Tasha. And obviously, it's just kind of crazy because I genuinely wanted to, because I felt like I promised Chelsea this moment to be able to kind of fight for the championship after I got through with Tasha. And I felt like I, wanted to kind of do that. And we obviously want to wrestle each other. And I think that's a match that the fans want to see, but obviously Tasha kind of felt otherwise, and she's kind of interjected herself back into the mix in that sense. So I guess we'll see who it's going to be at Sacrifice.
And someone to watch is Chelsea Green, because you both go way back. And she too, like you said, she wants the Knockouts Championship. She's stated it publicly, in a friendly manner to you.
Right.
But I do have to point out, her best friend is a former Knockouts champion, and that is Deonna Purrazzo. And when I last spoke to Deonna, she mentioned that she'd love to start tagging with Chelsea again. So do you think that there could be some sort of plot against Mickie James to sneak attack and steal the Impact Knockouts World title?
I would hope not. I feel like I've settled my score with Deonna, and I think we have a mutual understanding and respect. I'm not coming after her 2 championships, and I could, but I'm not. And she's not coming after mine at the moment. And I'm not saying that that's not on the horizon. I'm sure it's not in her mind somewhere. I'm very aware of, her and Chelsea. Her and Chow have been friends for a long time. But I think that I just love Chelsea so much because from her journey at NXT and the stuff that we were kind of doing together or hoping to do together into the be separated, like be released on the same day, and then watch everything that she's done since then. Everywhere she's gone, she's just killing it. I'm just so proud of her, and she's got so much passion, and she is definitely one to watch. And then I think the world of her, because she's good people too, and she genuinely loves the business, and she loves me. So I get her because I'm a little wacky too.
Well, that's always a good thing.
Yeah, I think so.
So Saturday, March 5th, Louisville, Kentucky, airing live on Impact Plus app is Sacrifice. Last year, we saw TNA World Title, Impact World Title unified. It's a special event. And this year, I'm sure will be another special event. Walking in as the Knockouts champion, what can we expect next from the Knockouts? Knocking down barriers, always a first ever. What can we expect next to see from the Knockouts?
Well, for me, I'm like kind of going in right now. I'm in a weird position because I'm trying to get in the mindset. Am I going to be facing my friend, or am I going to be facing Tasha, again? And what that's going to look like. So, I'm kind of sitting in an interesting seat because it's going to, either way, regardless of my opponent, I am training to win. I'm getting in that space to win.
Yeah.
But I think obviously for me, I have so much passion and so much love for Impact because I have so much history there.
Yeah.
That's where Hardcore Country was born in a sense, so, well, in reality. So I think that we've been killing, especially with the Knockouts, like they've always been, ahead of the curve. And we've been doing so many things from main eventing shows, main eventing pay-per-views to the Ultimate X match to cage matches and all these different elements. And then you see Jordan and Matt Cardona, the stuff they've been doing lately, like she's a badass. So you got to watch out for her because, it's just, we got an incredible roster. We really do. We have some of the, probably the best female roster out there.
So Sacrifice, we have Sacrifice, we already have some amazing announcers announced. Dream Match, Jay White, Alex Shelley, the Influence taking on the Inspiration, Knockouts tag team titles, Trey Miguel versus Jake Something, X Division Championship. And we know that you're going to be defending that Knockouts world title there, but we don't know against who yet. And that kind of leaves you, somewhere stuck in the middle. We have a number one contenders match between Tasha Steelz and Chelsea Green on Impact. Winner goes on to face you. Do you have a preference? I kind of tell where I can kind of give my own answer here.
Obviously, I want to wrestle Chelsea.
Would you mind a triple threat if that was the case?
Well, it's kind of, it won't be a triple threat regardless, because I feel like Gail was pretty adamant about whoever won this match would be my opponent at Sacrifice. So it's unfortunate. It just kind of, it is how it is, but I'm looking forward to the match either way. I felt like Tasha and I had a great match and I kicked her butt pretty good, really good. So I have no doubt that whoever we face, and I know that Chelsea and I will have a very competitive match and a back and forth match because there's a mutual love and a mutual respect for each other. But I don't have any doubt that she wouldn't mind winning, So I have to go in with that mindset of she wants my title. Everybody wants the championship, but there can be only one.
Only one, the Mickie James.
And that is me.
And here's an interesting question for you. You are, obviously the Knockouts, Impact Knockouts World Champion. But if you were ever to add more gold to that, either the digital media or even, the Knockouts tag team titles, who would you choose to be your tag team partner to go into, a tag team title match?
Well, obviously Chelsea. Obviously.
There you go.
Yeah. And I've thought about that. I was like, oh, it would be fun, but it's already a lot. Being double champion is awesome.
Yeah.
But it also comes even more responsibility. And I think that if I don't want to lose focus off of the Knockouts World Championship, because that is who I am right now, is the champion. And I want 100% of my focus on representing this championship as best I can, always, and I don't want to distract that by having, focusing on which championship I'm defending. It's kind of splitting the hairs. Plus, the more you wrestle, the more prone you are to injury and all of those things, and training and recovering and all of those things. And I want to make sure that every time I go in to defend this championship, I am at my top performance always. So there is that. That's just the businesswoman in the end. Or because I'm,
well, that's why you're
longer to recover than,
yeah, but it's made you, who you are today, Impact, Knockouts World Champion. A lot of firsts for you in your career. So it's always amazing to see that. But there are a lot of free agents who are looking for new homes across the board in professional wrestling. What words do you have for those who are looking to potentially call themselves an Impact Knockout?
I mean, there's definitely a few I'd love to see. Come on. But they, I think that our division is not only is it a very strong division, but also the ability to have all of these first evers and these different style matches that you aren't necessarily given the time for or the spot for, all that. Like that's not one of those things we ever have to worry about as knockouts, because we also have Gail, who is the head of the knockouts, who is always, since number one day, like even from back her and Kong, like fought for being seen as equals in that place. And I think that now in the fans' minds and in the media's minds and all of those things, we really, really are. And so it's like, it's cool to see that in Impact and even in NWA, in that sense of like Billy giving me that platform to be able to put on Empower and to be able to do all of these things. Like that's a really cool space to be in wrestling, and it's fun. We have fun.
Yeah, and last
that's what
time,
it's meant to be, right? It's meant to be fun.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and Mickie James always brings the fun. It's just...
I always bring the party. Yeah.
The last time that we spoke in August, I left you by saying you deserve everything the business has to offer and more. And I'm honestly so happy to see you, getting your flowers while you're still performing, while you're still in the ring.
I'm still alive.
Yeah, exactly. And thank you for always, giving us such great moments and memories and always pushing women's wrestling. Honestly, again, it's been an honor and a pleasure to chat with you.
Oh, it's been so fun. Thank you, Joey. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me back.
Of course. First ever two-time women's guest on the Angle podcast here. So
I have to do this. I don't want to put it on backwards,
Now, everyone listening and watching, don't forget to catch Mickie and all of Impact Wrestling at Sacrifice Saturday, March 5th in Louisville, Kentucky, airing live on Impact Plus app in the Old Forces, Prairstown Hall, I believe it is. Tickets are available for and all around the Louisville area at impactwrestling.com. Thank you again to the Impact Knockouts World Champion, Mickie James, again, coming on as a two-time guest. And I wish you luck and everything that's going on and Sacrifice.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. I don't need luck.
You got Horror Country. That's all you need.
Yeah.
Wait. Before you go, I have one question to ask. Are you a pro wrestling fan? Well, if you're watching this video, in most cases you are. And with WrestleMania 38 right around the corner, there's no better way to support your favorite WWE superstar than to buy their merch and rep their style, which now you can do exclusively through the link provided below at the Angle Podcast official Amazon store, where you can find all products officially from the WWE shop itself. That includes t-shirts, hoodies, hats, title belts, action figures, Funko Pops, and even the new WWE 2K22 video game, available on all platforms. Now, if you're like me, I like to collect my WWE Funko Pops. I like to set them up for their matches, and with WrestleMania coming up, you can collect or pre-order the new Brock Lesnar Funko Pop, set it up with the limited edition Roman Reigns Funko Pop. You can get a Charlotte Flair Funko Pop and set it up side by side with the Rowdy one, Rowdy Ronda Rousey, or even the new pre-order Bianca Belair Funko Pop and Becky Lynch Funko Pop. All exclusive items at the Amazon store of the Angle Podcast, straight from WWE shop itself. Now, here is your new contest, your new giveaway. If you do make a purchase through the link provided below at the Angle Podcast official Amazon store, proof of purchase is needed in either a DM for Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Send me a proof of purchase to be entered into an exclusive contest to win your choice of a limited edition Universal Champion Roman Reigns Funko Pop or a limited edition Becky Lynch Becky 2 Belts Funko Pop. The choice is yours. Use the link provided below and get ready to enjoy the most stupendous WrestleMania in history. And before you go, please like, subscribe, and check out more wrestling content right here on the Angle Podcast.